Welcome to Course 4, Foundation, Certified Supply Chain Professional, CSCP, course, by SPAO Academy. Topic 2, Global Supply Chain Networks, Section 7, Connectivity, Visibility, and Legal Considerations. Lesson 1, Data Privacy and Security. Data Privacy and Security. Welcome to Section 7. As we build globally connected supply chain networks, we create a vast digital web. This web, which gives us incredible visibility and efficiency, also becomes a target. This lesson introduces the critical, interconnected concepts of data privacy and data security. For a beginner, it's essential to understand that as supply chains become more digital, protecting the information flowing through them is just as important as protecting physical goods. We will explore why this matters, what kinds of data are at risk, and the fundamental principles that govern their protection. 1. Why data privacy and security matter in supply chains. In the past, supply chain risk was about a truck breaking down or a shipment being lost at sea. Today, a massive risk is a digital one. A single breach can paralyze a company, expose trade secrets, and erode customer trust. Financial impact. Data breaches are incredibly expensive. Costs include forensic investigations, legal fees, regulatory fines, and paying ransomware demands. For example, the 2021 ransomware attack on Colonial Pipeline, a major fuel supplier, led to panic buying, price spikes, and a multi-million-dollar ransom payment. Operational disruption. If a cyber attack hits a key supplier, your production line stops. You can't ship what you can't make. Modern supply chains are just in time, meaning they have little buffer for unexpected stoppages. Reputational damage. Customers and partners need to trust you with their data. A breach can destroy that trust overnight, leading to lost business and a damaged brand image that takes years to rebuild. Legal and regulatory consequences. As we'll see, failing to protect data can lead to severe legal penalties from governments around the world. 2. What data is at risk? To protect data, you first need to know what data exists. In a global supply chain, this includes customer personally identifiable information, P, names, addresses, phone numbers, and payment details of end consumers. This is the most heavily regulated type of data. Intellectual property, IP, proprietary product designs, manufacturing processes, formulas, and software source code shared with contract manufacturers. Strategic business data. Pricing agreements with suppliers, sales forecasts, inventory levels, and expansion plans. This information is gold for competitors. Employee data. Personal information of the workforce across the entire supply chain network. Operational data. Real-time tracking information, shipping routes, and warehouse access codes, which, if compromised, could be used to physically intercept shipments. 3. Key concepts. Privacy versus security. These two terms are often used together, but they are distinct concepts. Data security is about protecting data from unauthorized access, corruption, or theft throughout its lifecycle. It's the wall around the castle. This involves tools like firewalls, encryption, and access controls. Data privacy is about the rights and control individuals have over their personal information. It's about what happens inside the castle. It involves obtaining consent to collect data, being transparent about how it will be used, and ensuring it is handled ethically and in compliance with the law. Think of it this way: you cannot have privacy without security. If the wall is breached, poor security, all the private data inside is exposed. Conversely, you can have great security but poor privacy practices, e.g., collecting data you don't need or selling it without consent. 4. The legal landscape. Major data privacy regulations. One of the biggest challenges in global supply chains is navigating the complex patchwork of international data laws. Data cannot flow freely across borders without considering where it is and where it's going. Here are two foundational regulations that every supply chain professional should be aware of. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, a European Union law that is considered the gold standard for data privacy. Scope. It applies to any company in the world that processes the personal data of EU citizens. Key principles. Requires explicit consent for data collection, grants individuals the right to be forgotten, to have their data erased, and mandates that companies report data breaches within 72 hours. Impact on supply chain. If you ship products to customers in the EU, or if your HR department manages data of EU employees, GDPR applies to you. CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act, a landmark U.S. state law that has influenced other states. Scope: applies to for-profit businesses that meet certain thresholds, e.g., annual gross revenue over $25 million, and do business in California. Key principles: gives California residents the right to know what personal information is being collected, the purpose of its collection, and the right to request that their data be deleted. Impact on supply chain: similar to GDPR, it affects any company handling the data of California residents, which is a massive portion of the U.S. market. Other similar laws are emerging in countries like Brazil, LGPD, China, People, and Canada, PIPEDA, further complicating the global landscape. 5. Foundational security practices for beginners. While you may not be a security expert, understanding the basic defenses is crucial. These are often part of a company's cybersecurity hygiene. Encryption: this is the process of scrambling data so that it is unreadable without a secret key, like a decoder ring. Data should be encrypted in two states: in transit, when it's moving across the internet, e.g., from your computer to a cloud server. Look for the padlock icon in your browser's address bar. At rest, when it's stored on a hard drive, server, or in a database. Access controls: the principle of least privilege. This means giving employees, suppliers, and partners only the absolute minimum access to data they need to do their jobs. A shipping clerk does not need access to supplier payment terms. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. This adds an extra layer of security beyond just a password. It requires a second form of verification, such as a code sent to your phone or a fingerprint scan. It's one of the most effective ways to prevent unauthorized access, even if a password is stolen. Vendor risk management: you are only as secure as your weakest link. A hacker might not attack you directly, they might attack a small, less secure supplier to gain access to your network. Companies must now assess the security practices of all partners in their network. Lesson summary: in this lesson, we've established that data is a critical asset in the modern supply chain. We've seen how a breach can have catastrophic financial, operational, and reputational consequences. We distinguished between data security, the tools to protect data, and data privacy, the policies for handling data, and we introduced two cornerstone regulations, GDPR and CSCP, which dictate how that data must be treated across borders. Finally, we covered basic but essential security practices like encryption, access controls, and MFA. As we move forward, remember that managing a global supply chain is as much about managing information securely as it is about managing the flow of goods. I really appreciate you spending your time with me today. If you want to learn more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your like means the world to us and helps this channel grow so we can continue bringing you great content. Thanks again, and see you on the next video.